right, we're going to call to order. Board of Zoning Appeals for October 28th, 2024. First item on the agenda is the approval of minutes from the October 14th, 2024 meeting.
Chairman, I recommend we approve the minutes.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Peters, second by Mr. Milborn. All those in favor raise a hand. All opposed, same sign. That motion carries 5-0. Any special requests or continuances?
Yes, I do have one. BZA 2024-022. The petitioner has withdrawn this request. The petitioner is still working on the parking agreement that was originally kind of holding up a favorable recommendation from staff. So they were asked to withdraw that. Our procedure states that they can come back after 3 months. If they figure out the parking agreement and wish to come back, you would have to unanimously approve that they come back early. And I said that if you figure out your parking agreement, that staff would be supportive of that. So BZA 2024-022 is no longer on our agenda.
Okay. Any others? Next is findings of fact. First up is BZA 2024-036, the development standards variance. Petitioner Kip Kane for property located at 530 Howard Road.
Chairman, in consideration of statutory criteria, move that we adopt the written findings of fact as presented, incorporating the evidence submitted into the record as our final decision and final action for variance petition number BZA 2024-036.
Motion by Ms. Peters, second by Mr. Moll. All those in favor raise a hand. All opposed, same sign. That motion carries 5-0. BZA 2024-038, a development standards variance. Petitioner is Gordon Carpenter for property at 122 Totten Drive.
In consideration of the statutory criteria, I move that we adopt written findings of fact as presented, incorporating evidence submitted into the record as our final decision and final action for variance petition number BZA 2024-038.
Motion by Mr. King, second by Ms. Peters. All those in favor raise a hand. All opposed, same sign. That motion carries 5-0. And last one is BZA 2024-040, a development standards variance. Petitioner Megan Chacho for property at 345 South Oakwood Drive.
Mr. Chairman, consideration of statutory criteria, I move that we adopt the written findings of fact as presented, incorporating the evidence submitted into the record as our final decision and final action for variance petition or BZA 2024-040.
Motion by Mr. Moll, second by Mr. Milborn. All those in favor raise a hand. All opposed, same sign. That motion carries 5-0. We have no old business with BZA 2024-022 being withdrawn. Any old business from the floor? Seeing none, we will move on to new business with BZA 2024-041, which is development standards variance. Southern terminus of Airport Parkway and Jackson Boulevard, 108 acres in total. Petitioners Eric Prime on behalf of Taylor Morrison requesting relief from several sections of the Unified Development Ordinance. And with this, I am going to recuse myself because I do have a small interest in this docket. So Ms. Peters will take over as chair from here out.
Okay. So we'll itemize the 14 requests. The first one being section 10-02-15A, development standards lot width to reduce the minimum lot width from 24 to 20 feet for the townhomes only. Number 2, section 10-02-15A, development standard lot size to reduce the minimum lot size from 5,400 square feet to 4,200 square feet for the cornerstone and edge series. Number 3, section 10-02-15A, development standard side yard setback to reduce the minimum setback from 8 feet to 5 feet for the simplicity and edge series. Number 4, section 10-02-15A, development standard side yard setback to reduce the minimum setback from 8 feet to 1 foot for the cornerstone series. Section 10-03-14B1, single family residential building design standards non-monotony B, to allow single-family homes to have the same front setback for the townhomes and the Cornerstone and Edge series. Number 6, section 10-03-14B1, single-family residential building design standards, non-monotony D, to waive requirement for no blank exterior walls for the townhomes and the Cornerstone and Edge series. Number 7, section 10-03-14B1, single-family residential building design standards, general design A, to increase the total percentage of garage to overall facade from 60% to 67% for the Simplicity Series 2-story. Number 8, section 10-03-14B1, single-family residential building design standards, general design A, to increase the total percentage of garage to overall facade from 50% to 61% for the Simplicity Series Ranch. Number 9, section 10-03-14B1, single-family residential buildings design standards, general design A, to increase the total percentage of garage to overall facade from 60% to 93% for the townhomes. Number 10, section 10-03-14B1, single-family residential building design standards, general design H, to increase the amount a garage can extend forward of the house from 8 feet to 10 feet for the Simplicity Series. Number 11, section 10-03-14B1, single-family residential building design standards, general design C, to allow primary front entrance on a side elevation for the Cornerstone Series. Number 12, section 10-03-14B1, single-family residential building design standards, exterior materials, path 1, to reduce the minimum gauge vinyl siding allowed from 0.046 to 0.044. Number 13, section 10-03-14B1, single-family residential building design standards, exterior materials, path 1, to reduce the amount of mortared masonry required from 50% to the bottom of the first floor window on all facades in which mortared masonry is required. And number 14, section 10-03-14B1, single-family residential building design standards, exterior materials, path 1D, to allow vinyl siding on an enclosed porch. All those wishing to speak need to please stand and be sworn in, either for or against.
Do you swear under penalty of perjury the testimony is true to the best of your knowledge?
Do we have anyone on Zoom that is expecting to speak? Okay. Can I hear something?
Were you wanting to speak as well?
If I'm allowed,
Well, you have to be sworn in.
do you swear under penalty of perjury the testimony is true to the best of your knowledge? Thank you.
Okay, are all the notices in order?
Everything is in order and in our files.
And I'd like for the thing with municipal ordinance as well as the contract plan.
Okay, who is presenting? I just want to go ahead and go to the microphone. I just want to remind everyone that the presenter gets 15 minutes to present. Any remonstrators, all total on remonstrators, all the speakers will be totaled up to 15 minutes maximum that can speak, and it'd be recommended that you not repeat because it's going to take part of the 15 minutes. And then there'll be 5 minutes for the speaker to respond to the remonstrators and another 5 for the remonstrators to respond to what the speaker has said. And a reminder for the speaker, there is a sheet up there to sign in with your name and address for the record.
I don't believe I was heard. My name is Ann Stout, and I would like to speak as well. I'm on the Zoom call.
We need to be able to see you to swear you in.
Yeah, I was there just a second ago. Let me see where it went. Oh, goodness. Here I am.
We don't see you.
You're not able to see me?
No, we're not.
Okay.
Still nothing.
All right. I will keep working on it.
But we'll come back to you when it comes to the remonstrators and get you sworn in before you can speak, okay?
Thank you.
All right. And
It's camera action. Eric Prime, Mid Baylor Law Firm, on behalf of petitioner Taylor Morrison, with you this evening. Ms. Peters, I realize that was a mouthful for you to start the meeting off with, and there are few variances that we're requesting. I'm going to start off by explaining why. First of all, the area where this proposed development is proposed is a strange piece of ground. It's immediately west of the airport, South County Line Road, north of Main Street. It has kind of a jagged shape to it. You can see it's the area is outlined in blue, and Pleasant Creek runs through just about the entirety of the property. So it has some serious development challenges, both in topography, floodplain, and just trying to situate a development in this piece of ground, which is partly why it has never been developed. There have been lots of things proposed here, industrial sites, commercial sites, but now we're coming to you with a purely residential development. So that's the main reason for the bulk of these variances. The other reason is there are 4 distinct living areas proposed in this development. So as you can see with this color-coded map that is in front of you, the orange section kind of in the upper right is townhomes. The yellow section below that will be rear load single-family homes. The sort of light blue as you're heading west, those will be the Cornerstone series, again, detached single-family homes, but a very interesting product that has not been built in Greenwood yet. And likewise with the rear load yellow section, I think there's a similar product proposed for Walker Commons, but to my knowledge, there's not been a full neighborhood of rear load detached single-family homes like will be in that yellow area. And then as you proceed west into the light green area, those are more standard kind of normal single-family detached homes that would be in keeping with the homes that are already there further to the west. So with these 4 distinct neighborhoods and 4 distinct products and types of homes, you kind of get a transition from the commercial, the airport, first of all, and then the commercial and flex office space that's along the airport fringe on the west side of the airport, and you transition to the more dense townhomes and some single family homes, and then you progress to what most people consider just more of a typical neighborhood of detached single family homes in that light green area that backs up to the existing neighborhood. So anyway, that's a long-winded way of saying there's a reason or a method to this madness. The reason for these variances is the developmental challenges plus the diversity of the housing types that we're bringing to the area. So I want to show you, actually it's easier if you go through what I handed out, because I'll leave this color map up here for your reference. So of the packet that I handed out, you'll see the first section, those are the Cornerstone homes. Those are the ones that will be in the light blue area. And then,
can we see?
I'm sorry, we can't see any of that.
well, I'll be happy to get to those in just a second. I'm just trying to orient the board real quick here. So those are the Cornerstone series in the first part of your packet, several pages of that. And then you'll see the Edge series. Those are the rear load detached single family that will be in the yellow section. And then you get the Simplicity series in the back, and that is, those are the single family light green homes that you're going to see. So just to orient you, if you have any questions as you go along, because each of these variances, not all of them apply to each across the board, right? That's why some of them apply only to certain of these housing types, because again, they're new to Greenwood, at least the rear load, single family and Cornerstone series. So the UDO could not have contemplated these types of housing. So let me run through real quick for the folks in the audience and at home. Here we go. This is the Edge series. These are the rear load. Would be that yellow area. These are the Cornerstone series. At the top left is a rear view of those homes. And then if you look at the way the brown home in the middle left and the white home on the lower left, those actually get paired, different colors, different elevations, but the forward garage gets paired with a recessed garage. And all the way down the street, those alternate. And you can kind of see in the streetscape over to the right how that works. So you've got a forward garage in the blue house, the house next to it, sort of the beige house, you can't see the garage because it's back in the back, like on that lower left home. The brown house, again, the garage is forward, and then the red house, the garage is recessed. So it's this Cornerstone product. It is being really well received in the other areas of Metro where this is being developed. So Taylor Morrison's excited to bring this to Greenwood if it is allowed to do so. And then these are the Simplicity series. These would be the single family homes that would be backing up against the current homes. And then the last is the townhomes. The townhomes would be a mix of rear load and front load, depending on which way they're oriented. Basically, they'd be oriented so that you're not looking at garages. As you come down Airport Parkway, you're going to see that initial set. We'll go back to that real quick. Here we go. So the very top orange piece that would be facing north on Airport Parkway, those would be front load. So that as you come south on Airport Parkway, you don't see a bunch of garages on that backside. Then the majority of the townhomes would be rear load and served by alleys between the two larger sections. And the only other ones that would be front load would be the ones that back up to the floodplain area. Obviously, you can't drive in behind those. So that's the way this is designed to be set up. I'm going to lean on your attorney a little bit in terms of how I'm going to present this, because there are a few of these. The statutory criteria for all of them, at least criteria 2, 3, and 4, are the same. The difference comes in the initial statutory criteria. So I'm not sure, maybe easier just to go through each of the ones.
Right. So
and then we'll talk about 2, 3, and 4 being the same for all.
right, what we've done in the past.
Okay, yeah, we talked about this a moment ago. So I think the way we want to do this is go ahead and start with variance 1. And you said that the first criteria is what is different on each one of them?
Some of them are the same, but that's where the most variance is.
Okay, so where it is something that you have already identified, then we'll reference it instead of repeating it. Does that sound right?
Right, so it looks like 2, 3, and 4 apply to all 14 variances.
Correct.
So if you read
Okay.
2, 3, and 4 one time, it would apply to all 14.
Perfect. So
The ones that are different, you need to read the criteria number 1.
Yep.
It's different for a certain variance, so you have to read those independently.
yeah, I've got it set up that way here in the PowerPoint, so it should work out just fine.
Okay,
So for item number 1, which was the lot width reduction from 24 to 20 feet. Well, first of all, let me mention on each of these, your staff has reviewed them. Staff is favorable for all but 1. And when I get to that one, I'll talk about it. So with regard to this first one, staff is favorable, and staff does note there are other townhome developments currently in the city with 20 or 21 foot width. So we're not asking for anything that's not been allowed already. But in any rate, for that variance request, the initial criteria is that the approval will not be injurious to public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community, because the decrease in the minimum lot width from 24 to 20 feet will not affect public health, safety, morals, or general welfare, because the proposed deviance is relatively small, will not create any adverse visual impairments to the home to be constructed, and will be in harmony with the overall community and consistent with residential development in the area. basically you're not going to visually see the difference between a 23-foot or a 24-foot or a 20-foot townhomes. And certainly has no impact on safety or morals or public health. I'm going to jump then to 2, 3, and 4 on that one. So the second statutory criteria for variance number 1 is that the use and value of the area adjacent to the property included in the variance will not be affected substantially in a substantially adverse manner, because the petition is consistent with residential development in the area. The variance requested is relatively small, will be visually insignificant. The value of the adjacent properties will not be adversely affected. As approval of this petition, the resulting variance will allow for new home construction, will be in harmony with the overall community and the existing residential areas to the west and to the south. And the third criteria is the strict application of the terms of the zoning ordinance will result in practical difficulties in the use of the property. Again, this one flows through all of these requests. And as I said at the outset, it really is based almost entirely on those 2 factors. First, on the topography and the challenges of developing this parcel, and also with regard to the new types of product that we're wanting to bring into the city. So the conditions and dimensions of the real estate in conjunction with the location of Pleasant Creek in its floodway and flood zone make it impractical for the petitioner to develop the real estate for residential use without approval of the requested variance. The petitioner will have to construct at least 2 bridges and provide space for a trail along the creek. The remaining developable ground is challenging and oddly shaped. And then the final criteria, again, which is applicable to all of these, is that a letter of no hazard to air navigation has been requested. That request showed as pending as of this morning, so we're still waiting on a response from the FAA, but we don't anticipate any issues because none of these structures will be taller than the height minimum, so that should not be an issue. Then if we go back to variance number 2, which is the lot size reduction from 5,400 to 4,200. The first criteria there is the second one on this page, if you're following along at home, that the approval again will not be injurious to health, safety, morals, or general welfare. The approval of this request to decrease the lot size will not affect public health, safety, morals, and general welfare. Because the proposed deviation, again, is relatively small, not creating adverse visual impairments. The homes will just be on slightly smaller lots and will be constructed in harmony with the overall community, consistent with residential development area. Then again, the criteria 2, 3, and 4 remain the same on this one. Then on variances 3 and 4, which were side yard setbacks, each of them, and they were different for, again, the various neighborhoods they would be in. 3 is with regard to the Simplicity and Edge series, and 4 is with regard to the Cornerstone series. On those, the public health criteria is that the approval will not affect because deviation is relatively small. Again, there will be no adverse visual impairments, and the products are new and unknown to the UDO at the time. Several of them are not. The Simplicity, the others are. And then 2, 3, and 4 remain the same on that one as well. Then on 5 and 6, that is the non-monotony for Cornerstone and Edge is 5, and non-monotony for Cornerstone and Edge on the exterior walls is 6. So that one will be that, again, in terms of the public health and safety criteria, that the deviation will not create any adverse visual impairments. On the Cornerstone series, there's a natural variation of movement in the streetscape. That's the paired homes that I was talking about, where one has a recessed garage, one has a forward garage. So there is a natural undulation as you look down the streetscape there, just based on the type of product that is, and it doesn't need the artificial variation that the UDO might require. And then Edge series of rear-loaded garages do not face any public ways. So those homes will be constructed in harmony with the overall community, consistent with residential development. Again, because they're rear-loaded garages and hidden, you're not going to see that section, and we don't think the UDO is necessarily speaking to that type of product, and staff agrees with that. So then On items 7, 8, and 9, this is general design, the garage door issue with the width as a percentage of the whole facade, front facade. 7 was to increase from 60% to 67 for the simplicity 2 stories, but not the single stories. And then number 8 was the 50% to 61 for the ranch simplicities. And 9 was from 60 to 93 for the townhomes because of they're kind of special in that way. And again, most of them are rear load. So on 7, 8, and 9, the public health criteria is that again, the deviation is small. It won't create any adverse visual impairments. Homes be constructed in harmony with the overall community, consistent with residential development in the area. These are just, in a way, I guess you could look at it as new designs or tastes and styles change. So we're just asking for some leeway to have a new type of product be available. Then on variance 10, that is the increase in the amount that a garage can extend forward of the house. Staff was opposed to this, and we are willing
Your time is up.
I'm sorry.
Your time is up.
Oh my goodness! All right.
The time was for
him to present was 15 minutes.
for all of the variance requests?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes.
He's got an additional 5 minutes, so you can all, and it's also within staff.
I'm sorry.
You have an additional 5 minutes.
Yeah, I'll get the pipes ready for that.
We could just have them stipulate everything's in the staff report as well.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, if you wanted to stipulate that, the staff report will be considered by the board.
That's fine with it, rather than regurgitating all this. I'm fine with stipulating that, but I do want the record to show that we are willing to withdraw number 10, the one that the staff was opposed to.
Okay, so we were drawing variance request number 10. Yes, report before the demonstrators.
No, they don't.
Okay. So the demonstrators, we have 15 minutes. For whoever wants to speak, reminder that you don't want to repeat anything that somebody else has said, because the 15 minutes is a total combined, and we will have to cut you off like we had to do with Mr. Prime. So whoever wants to go first, we need you to sign the sheet up there with your name and address. IT, we can take that PowerPoint down now.
Can we put the map back up?
Okay, Mr. Brown, you wanna put the map back up? Oh, is she gonna do it? Okay.
Do you want the vicinity map or the map that showed the color?
Either one, that's fine. This one is actually better. My name is Dennis Klutsky,
Go ahead.
resident 481 Park Drive. My wife and I live here. We appreciate that, and we've enjoyed for quite some time having field in our backyard and the agricultural aspect of that and the quietness of that. And we knew at some point in time that would change, and we understand that. However, we did not expect it to be quite so. Saturated. Saturated. I mean, the whole plan here is to put as many houses as possible in this plot of land. And I don't really have any personal feelings towards, the amount of profit that is made by the company, by Taylor Morrison, because, simply put, if you count the number of houses in the property, the density is even higher than what it is in our addition.
and the standards that Greenwood has set, our addition doesn't meet those standards anymore. Our housing addition was built in 1950, and it doesn't meet the standards. And this is below those standards. Why would you consider this? Why would you allow a higher density? And heaven forbid there be some catastrophic event like what happened just at Richmond Hill, not too far away. Most of us can still remember hearing the explosion. There were 3 houses destroyed. Now you're talking about wiping out 7 houses in the same event. This doesn't make any sense. Talk about it not being a safety concern, absolutely a safety concern. What happens in one house is now is the equivalent as what happens in an apartment next door, because there is no room between these places. The quality of Taylor Morrison is a question. It's all over the internet. You don't have to spend much time finding it. There's lots of evidence of their quality and standards. There's lots of evidence of them forcing people to close on unfinished houses because, by threatening to take away their escrow money. So I think you have the wrong builder. I think you have the wrong plan. I think you can build quality houses in here. You have the location. You have the location closest to the airport, the location closest to the interstate, location closest to the county line. I mean, you have the best locations left in Greenwood, and you're putting the cheapest houses you can possibly find in that area. It doesn't make any sense. And the standards that you're setting here, if you approve these, are below what you would allow me to do if I decided to tear my house down and rebuild it. If I tore my house down and rebuild it, the 2 houses that we own on Park Drive, we could put 4 of these houses in the same units, in the same space. This doesn't make any sense. This is bad for your community. This is bad for the city. It's certainly bad for my property value. You can't say it's not going to harm the property value because of this density and with the quality of homes that they build.
Thank you. Next.
Well.
There's a sign-in sheet there, and then you need to tell us your name and address for the record.
Sure. Okay, my name is Mike Gallego, 135 Marcy Lane, which is just one row of houses away from this proposed property. Everything Dennis said, plus I have further questions community-wide. We have seen, I'm a transplant. I've been here about 5.5 years. I have seen record growth without any rhyme or reason. So my question, probably for a future time as well, is what is the city's vision? Because it seems like anytime there's an empty lot, a house goes up. It doesn't matter if it's near industry, it doesn't matter if it's near commercial. We're crowding the airport on both sides. So now we're limiting potential growth for the airport for a community that's growing so fast. Infrastructure wise, we can't, and I don't know if anybody else agrees, but we can't sustain all this growth. You guys have to be driving on these streets. You have to be paying attention to the fact that all of these new requirements are making a tight community even tighter. It's hard to maneuver. It's hard to resources. We don't have enough police, we don't have enough fire. What's going to happen to our schools? Do we now look a year down the road and say we need some kind of a referendum because we don't have enough money to fund our schools for all of these people that are coming in? I understand we can't stop progress. But just like Dennis said, if you jam area after area with low quality housing, the people that have set up shop here to live are losing out. So based on all those things, I encourage that we relook at this area in density and almost at all. There's also some watershed issues I understand for this property. There's a creek that runs through here. Like, what happens to all that water? Is it just kind of a Hail Mary that hopefully it doesn't flood? Like, what steps has the city taken, past and present, to say, hey guys, this isn't a good idea, or this is a fine idea because the watershed isn't an issue anymore because of this, or this? Where is all that data? And how much of that is into play just because we want more housing? So for all of those reasons, I say that we we try to limit what goes in there and how it goes in. And I request ask the council to take a better look at what's coming up all over the place. And I don't know if this, obviously, there's probably a conversation for another time as far as what the city has in mind, but it just seems like there's no consideration for current residents. And setting a standard by creating smaller plots now means that you'll do it in the future, which just sets a new precedent for current and future residents. Low quality of life, to be honest with you. Our streets are jammed up as it is. We have 3 cars. We can only park 2 cars in our driveway, and if we park next to our driveway, we get a fine. And you're asking now for people that definitely have dual income, 2 family, or 2 cars in a family, to park all of these cars and all of their stuff in a house with no yard, with no street access, with very limited driveway space. None of it makes any sense. Maybe it looks good on paper, but in real time, drive through my neighborhood at 6 o'clock at night or on a Saturday afternoon. You just can't. So at that, I request that we, at the very least, renegotiate what goes in there. I'd like to see nothing.
Thank you.
I think I've gotten my camera figured out, but I don't know.
There's somebody else there that is wanting to speak.
I haven't been sworn in, but I would like to talk.
I would like to.
He's been
So just a reminder for the audience at the beginning, we did swear people in. If you are going up, please make it pertain to the specific variance requests that are on the agenda. This will also be going to Plan Commission, and it will also go to Common Council for the zone map change aspect.
Ben Gilliam, 602 Gooseberry Lane.
I'm sorry, your name was?
Ben Gilliam. You may recognize me from trying to build a post-frame construction building on my property. I had to submit to the board's will to try to build that building. We were down to measuring square inches of the house to determine if we had to put stone on the building or not. We had to have a certain percentage of the ground had to continue to be dirt. We also had to put stone on the thing around the bottom. It had to be a wainscot on the bottom due to the volatility of weed eaters, is what I was told. We did not try to petition court or the commission because we felt it would be on deaf ears because there's a unified building code. So we said, we'll submit, we'll spend the extra $15K to put this stone around the garage. This housing development that's proposed here is going to affect every community around there. It's going to affect County Line Road. You're going to have more stoplights, more traffic out there. All that is in relation to these variances allowing these reduced setbacks. The reduced setbacks were put there for a reason in the building code, unified building code that you guys push on every single person that builds. The pictures we saw earlier had these buildings right on top of each other. Where's the parking gonna be? Already on Park and Marcy and Gooseberry, it's one lane, no parking on one side of the road. I don't see these roads being any different in size. And there's gonna be more people. And there's no real exit except for out to County Line Road. These other roads, too tight. So I ask, why have a unified building code that everyone else must submit to and then allow these reduced lots? Fire safety, it was brought up about the fire explosion. But if you have houses too close to each other, they're gonna catch fire. And then the next one catches fire, and then you've got 23 houses on fire. It's unfortunate that this is considered for this area. I would like to see much larger lots.
Thank you. Down to 5 minutes and 40 seconds.
Hi, I'm Lori Gordon. I live at 471 Spring Drive. And my main concern, if you're doing all these new houses, I'm sure there's gonna be more kids, possibly 1,000 more kids, maybe. I don't know where they're gonna go to school at. My son went to the middle school and it was taken down for house. And I just don't know where they're gonna go. And speaking of the Richmond Hills, there was only one way in and out of there for safety. A lot of people's safety was that concerned. There's an airport here and there's that creek there. There has to be several ways for people to get in and out in case of emergency. And the planes that are coming down, if you got more lights, it could be a danger for them to land. The airport needs to be safe to land there. So we don't be crashing into homes and endangering people's lives. It's just, and is this guaranteed these are just gonna be homes, or could this plan be changed to apartments? Could this possibly be 300,000 people moving in right here in this little small area? Or is this a guarantee? Is there going to be a limit on how many people you're going to shove into this small area, which has no access out with that creek there and the apartments there? Is there going to be ways for people to get in and out? My spring drive, we have to park on one side of the street to barely get our trucks in and leave room for emergency, an ambulance or a fire truck to come down. We did not have extra room for traffic people going back and forth. And my main concern, where are the kids going to go to school at? Does anybody know?
They're going to go to Northeast.
It's not for our board to address.
If we get 1,000 extra kids, where would they go to school at?
It's not an issue for this board.
No one concerned about the kids? If you're putting them in these homes, are they allowed to live there? Will they have a school to go to?
That would be something you would need to take up with the other boards.
You're not concerned where the kids
It's
go
not
to
an issue
school?
we can address.
You just want to put a house there and.
It's not an issue on our list that we can address.
Anybody else?
The creek back there, y'all have to think about everyone's safety.
Okay. We have somebody on Zoom, I believe. Are you finished there?
Yeah, if you don't know where the kids, you don't care about the kids.
It's not in our
It's not in
jurisdiction.
our jurisdiction. We cannot go there because it's not on our control. It's not.
This
something
board
we
doesn't
do.
have that.
If we're planning to build homes.
This is not a planning commission. This is a board to address issues that are outside of the.
To me, that's a very important issue, where
Ordinances.
the kids are gonna go to school at, that's important.
Can you let somebody else talk on Zoom real quick?
Yes, you're good.
The
Yes.
person, excuse me, on Zoom, can we get a video so we can get you sworn in?
Are you still not able to see me?
We can see you now. We have to get you sworn in before you can
Yes.
speak.
Thank you.
Stevie,
He's wanting to talk as well.
Can we get?
but she
Yeah,
addressed
do you
you
swear to
earlier.
justice perjury, the testimony is true to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, I do. Yes, I think I didn't quite fully hear you. I'm going to represent myself and I live in the area.
Yes, and we have 2.5 minutes, and that's it.
Okay, I live at 482 Autumn Lane. My name is Ann Stout. We've lived here for 30 years this week. We just did a huge renovation on our kitchen, tens of thousands of dollars. We found out about this proposal this Saturday on a neighborhood app and a homemade copy of a letter in our mailbox. How many apartments exactly does Greenwood need? I would like an answer to that question. How many apartments do we need? And do we understand that apartments are not places where people are going to live forever, more than likely, where you would expect someone who buys a home to stay there longer? So speaking back to the previous person's concern about schools, when you've got apartments, you've got transient living. You've got people coming and going month to month, skipping around to different schools, and that impacts the school. I don't think the lot sizes should be nearly as small as you're suggesting. And I would like to know, are you going to helicopter those of us who already live here out to places like Costco and Kroger? Because right now we can barely get there. So where are all of these people? County Line is not big enough to handle more people. County Line in Emerson is ridiculous. Airport Parkway, people can't understand the left arrow. If you want to go west on County Line, you need to be in that turn lane. I mean, there are lots of things that really need to be considered. Unless you're going somewhere on a Sunday morning before 9 a.m., you can't go anywhere quickly here. And like I said, we've lived here 30 years. We're not planning on going anywhere, but you're really making it difficult for those of us that are already members of the community to want to remain so. That's all I have to say.
We have 1 minute left. You have to be sworn in first.
Do you swear to tell this perjury testimony to the best of your knowledge? Thank you.
Hello, my name is Isaiah Granger. I live at 601 Park Drive, right by Northeast Park, where all that skate park is and everything. We have people going out there doing donuts all the time, being stupid, driving through the grass, and we're going to have more people here. So there is more concerns. There's a straight road going across there. We don't have speed bumps there. People go from 0 to 50 going down that road. Who's to say they hit a kid? Who's to say there's safety violations there? Like, anybody could come from the park, get hit. I'm thinking about my children, or my child, and these, just what you have isn't what needs to be there.
Time's up. Did you sign? Then you need to sign it. Okay, after he signs in, then Mr. Prime will have 5 minutes to respond to the concerns of the remonstrators.
Thank you. It seems like at least most of the comments I wrote down are more germane to the planning commission meeting that will be next. So I'll probably address most of those at that time. I think just in general to assuage a few fears or misapprehensions about what's going on here. There are no apartments proposed in this development. So for the lady that was on the Zoom call, there are no apartments here. Secondly, the schools have been consulted. We've met multiple times with Dr. Terhune in the school administration. So again, I'll get to that with the planning commission, but that hasn't gone without being addressed. And then I guess just to give you some idea of lot prices. Somebody was talking about homes. The Cornerstone series, which are those repaired items, will be $325,000 to $400,000. The Edge series, which is a rear-loaded detached single family, will be again $325,000 to $400,000. The Simplicity series will be $300,000 to $375,000. The townhomes $275,000 to $450,000. So those are the price points that we'll be looking at. But
Heat
at any
and
rate,
quality are two different things.
Guys, we do, in respect of your time, we do have to be quiet when they're speaking.
so to wrap it up, we'll rely on the staff report for those portions of the variances that we weren't able to get to in our initial presentation. And based upon the staff's report, we would ask you to echo that and approve all of the variances we requested other than item number 10, which was withdrawn. Thank you.
We have 5 minutes for remonstrators.
Again, back to the primary reason for asking for this is because it's difficult to design a housing addition in this area. I don't really buy that because if you flip flop the map over a little bit to the left, you'll see that there's the same angular concern with the railroad on the Park Addition. And we have curved streets, we have, we have one racetrack, it's Park Drive. If you ever want to see how fast somebody can go Park Drive, just spend a Saturday afternoon out there, you'll see they don't stop to the stop signs already. So adding all these more runways for them is not going to improve anything in that case as well. And we have plenty of quality builders in Johnson County. Why are we soliciting outside Johnson County? Why are we bringing in a national builder that doesn't even have a presence in Johnson County, barely in Indiana? They have houses built in Shelbyville that are priced much lower than the prices that he just quoted. Same houses, the Simplicity Series, same houses, 50,000 or more less than what he was just quoting. So I don't believe that those are the prices that they plan on selling them for. I believe that those are the prices that they're selling them to you for.
3 minutes and 40 seconds left if somebody else wants to speak. Okay. This is a new one.
Oh, is it only people that have already talked?
Yeah.
Were you sworn in?
No.
He was.
You guys, you can. go ahead.
I apologize. I guess I thought this was a partial planning as well. So if we want to talk just about variance concerns,
Yes.
the variances that are being proposed overall, not just in this neighborhood, but just in general, this kind of variance allowance does in fact harm. It is harmful to the public. It is a hazard, and it's not cohesive. It's a safety hazard. It's a quality of life hazard. Again, referring back to if you're allowing smaller lots, who's to say if my house burns down, I don't qualify now to put 2 houses on that same lot? That sets a bad precedent, not just here, but throughout the whole community. So again, I would ask, what is the city's vision and where is the variances come into play where it seems that if this is so difficult to build on, we have to make all of these variance changes, maybe we shouldn't be building here.
Yeah.
So those are the questions I think the community is trying to ask, aside from the fact that it's not in their backyard. Variance wise, you guys seem to be flip flopping. Here it's okay because we're spending millions and millions of dollars, but I want to add a little bit of gravel in my driveway, I get fined for it. So you see what I mean? Variance wise, you guys are very all over the place. It raises concern with the community where the line is drawn, right? So we are again asking to show us better variances between commercial, residential, and industrial in this region. It just doesn't seem to have any of that here. So that's what a lot of our concerns are. The rest of them will be for the planning thing for sure, definitely. So I apologize for getting into that anyway. I didn't realize it was separate things. I thought it was all the same meeting. And again, thanks for your time.
We have a minute and a half left for anyone else in their non-straters that's been sworn in. Okay,
Are our taxes gonna be raised so I don't pay for this?
that is not something that is for the Board of Zoning and Appeals. Okay,
Right here. What about the park that the northeast park that we had just, that's right over there? We just had it paved and put a brand new park in it and everything. Is it just gonna get destroyed now? And just to be able to put that road there and build disgusting homes over? So my kid doesn't have a place to play in the park? Or the kids that go to the school have a place to play in the park? This idea.
No schools, no parks.
That's the future. And then we have to have more officers too, to pay more money for officers.
yep, well, Mr. Brown, you want to respond to the?
I don't. Anything else?
So I can present for staff, I do want to address a couple of things. So there's a little bit of confusion. This is the Board of Zoning Appeals, so they're just concerned with the 14 requests After this will be plan commission. Plan commission, there's an opportunity to talk about the zoning changing. So you have some zones that are to allow for this development.
Doesn't seem like these are backwards. Shouldn't we at least zone it to be the proper type of housing before we just talk about
One of staff's
zones in the house?
Okay, this is not a conversation right now. I'm sharing
I
some
understand.
information. So our staff
I'm just
report
pointing out
is
an obvious
conditional.
issue with your planning.
Okay. Couple of things to bring up. Park is not a part of this plan. The city actually has some plans to invest more into that park and expand that park. And I think we've been in talks about that for some time, and it is not a part of the map. It is, as you can see, the park is not included in the shaded area. I will address the variance request. So staff, we were favorable of most of them except for variance number 10, which has been withdrawn. Not all of the variance requests we were favorable of as they were written. We did have a few proposed conditions. So if you'd like, I can go through those. Variance 1, 2, 3, we did not have any specific proposed conditions. For variance number 4, we had a condition that there would be a minimum of 10 feet between the buildings. So even though the setbacks might be reduced, we have a condition that there would be 10 feet between the buildings. Variance number 5, for regarding the blank wall, they already have one window there, and we have a condition that an additional 20 square feet of windows per floor of otherwise blank walls would be provided. And then for variance 9, for the Simplicity Series garages, we have garage doors in the Simplicity Series shall have a minimum of 5% transparency or other architectural styles, and a minimum of 50% of the garage door space in the townhomes shall have a minimum of 5% transparency or other architectural styles. That's for the front load townhomes. And then for variance number 14, to allow vinyl siding on a closed porch, we had the condition that this would only be applicable to homes with vinyl siding. So if they were building one without vinyl siding, we would want it to match that, not have vinyl. And then overall, for all of the variances, we have our 2 general conditions. 1, that the final plan should substantially conform the site plan depicted in Exhibit C and the building elevations depicted in Exhibit D. And number 2, the variances are conditional upon the successful rezoning of this property to residential attached RA. If they do not get zoned, it is conditional. These would not apply. We don't just have variances out there on a piece of property. They would only apply if they successfully were to get their zone map changed. That is all I had.
Close the public hearing. Mr. Prime, will you be able to address any questions for the board?
All right, so I got a few for you. For the townhomes, are there gonna be any additional parking spaces there? For the variance request, because you're gonna shorten the width of each home, so, you were also asking for the setback. Is that right? Hold on a second. There's a lot of variances to go through here. I was just curious, like, consideration for like visitors and whatnot, that space.
By the way, for the record, the petitioner is in agreement with all of the conditions that staff has proposed. I didn't say that earlier. With regard to the parking, each of the townhomes will have a two-car garage in it, and the driveway, in addition to 2 cars.
And then it was a variance petition. You guys confused about variance petition number 4, the setback from 8 feet to 1 foot. Does that mean like it's literally gonna be right up on that sidewalk, or is that?
No, that was the oddity where the recessed driveways were. So it's.
So that's the back part?
Yeah, it's when they meet like that, it's 1 foot and 9 feet.
It's
It's still 10 feet minimum.
It's a side yard setback to the lot line. So the garage that is recessed will be 1 foot from the lot line. And then the garage that is forward will be 1 foot from the lot line. But between the two buildings, staff has a condition that we've recommended a minimum of 10 feet between the buildings. So the structures will be within a foot of their neighbor's lot. But due to basically the two Ls, they will always be 10 feet apart.
It'll create sort of a courtyard between the two homes.
And then. Let's see, start, I apologize, I had some questions of going out of order now. The cornerstone and edge series, I think we're asking to reduce the size of that. Would that also, is that also to fit that setback? Is that part of that whole thing, or is that? I'm just curious. On the variance petition number 2, the reducing of the lot size, is that also a consideration for the? I guess I was just curious why you're asking for that with the setback of the garage and everything else.
It varies by the type of product, but some of those lot sizes were to have more homes.
More.
The way it fits in that dagger piece. Yeah.
That's all I have for it. Now, I think.
Mr. Milburn?
No, I mean, a little bit of concern about whether this does affect public safety, but I'm also leaning towards delaying our decision and hearing the planning commission side, because we're kind of talking about it. Yes, the variances have a condition, putting a contingent on if we on planning commission approve it. But we kind of have to think of it that it's already approved by planning commission. I'm a little hesitant to do that. So I'm tempted to say we hear everything tonight and then we continue our decision on this board until we know what planning commission says.
Very good, very good.
And that, yeah, you can put a motion up to table this decision, and I can select the date. The public hearing is closed, so it shouldn't take an absorbent amount of time at a future meeting, and we can accommodate that on future agendas, if that's what you choose to do.
And I'm leaning on it because we're hearing a lot of concerns from the public that really lean towards the planning commission's jurisdictions, which 2 of us sit on.
Which don't really address what petition, the waiver requests are for this board.
Right.
So the other board.
That's why I'm hesitant to say either direction on the variances. So.
Do you have any issues with that?
No, your rules provide for a continuance on your own motion.
So with that, our meetings are full until January. What I would recommend is that you waive your rules of procedure that limit it to 3 petitions to include this on one, understanding that the public hearing portion, which takes the longest amount of time, is has already been played out.
so that we would
It would be our
recommend it
discussion,
for old business, but only for the voting purposes.
our discussion. But- these are- I gotta look at the calendar, I don't know when our next one is, because I can't just throw a date.
November 13th.
I'm gonna move that we table this and continue to the November 13th, 2024 meeting as a whole business.
Motion by Mr. King, second by Mr. Milborn. All those in favor, raise a hand. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. So what that is saying is that the hearing portion is done. We closed the hearing. At our next meeting, we will take a vote amongst the board as to all 13 left petition requests for waivers on each one of those as to whether or not we would agree to approve or disapprove on each of those. The next meeting of the planning commission seems to be what you're really asking for issues with. I'm sorry, there was some confusion. Our authority extends only to the request on the petition for the waivers of the rules, the ordinances that are put out by the council and adopted by the city. That's the only thing that we can address. And I apologize if there was some misunderstanding, but I think if you would stay for the next meeting, you will have a chance to address those issues.
So next meeting, we will hear more from a plan, the actual, well, we heard a lot of comments tonight. No, so
Right
planning
now.
commission is
Right
coming
now. Right now.
It's after this.
It's
After this.
immediately after this, immediately after
So
this
this meeting is the variances, kind of like you discussed. Meeting coming up here in a few minutes is the plan with changing the zones to allow this, as he discussed. It's that,
Okay.
so a lot of the concerns coming up about traffic, about schools, about public safety, that's a planning commission concern. So that's what we're hearing.
It would be nice just to have that explained at the beginning instead of the middle or the.
So we're staying for the next meeting, this is what you're saying.
If you want
If we want
to
to,
present a request,
absolutely.
then you should stay for the next meeting.
What got moved to the 13th is
Our
this
decision
board
on this.
deciding on these variances.
But only in that group, right?
And
Yep, so.
But it would be
there-
up to them if they don't. do
It's
it.
not an open hearing right now, so we really can't address any more questions. We will go ahead and move to the next thing. So do we have any announcements?
no announcements.
And I'll entertain a motion from, you have anything? A motion to adjourn? So moved, this board is adjourned. The next